brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. God, I'll get it right one of these days. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And Tyler Hymanson.
Welcome, you guys. Welcome. You know what? I'm so excited that you're here to talk about Problem Child 3 with us. Junior in Love.
Aww. It's technically a movie.
That's right. Now that's entertainment.
Yeah.
This is the final film in the Problem Child series.
True.
And I think, you know what? We're just going to dive right in.
Hi, this is me, Junior Healy. This is me and my dad, Ben Healy. He's the best. I love him and he loves me. This is my grandpa, Big Ben Healy. He's old, wrinkly, and mean. Believe it or not, some people think I'm a little devil. But I'm not. I'm an angel. An avenging angel. In general, I like people. I just got no patience for losers, whiners, criers, and biters. This is Mortville Elementary School, where I'm currently serving a 5-year sentence. And this fine specimen is my teacher, Miss Hicks. I hate Miss Hicks, and for some reason, she's not too fond of me either. But don't worry, she's about to take an early retirement.
All right, so what you just heard was actually the very beginning of the film because this film was made for TV. And you know what? There's no trailers or people ripping commercials for the film onto YouTube.
But if you have it on your old VHS recording of episodes of Dinosaurs, please let us know.
Yes, that's right.
I think I got the timeline wrong there. TGIF. We'll just go with a general
that's
TGIF
right.
if you have
TGIF was on ABC.
They could have advertised on different networks.
They didn't say what channel.
It was on NBC. I think.
NBC. Okay.
So must-see TV.
Must-see TV, yeah.
All right.
Must-see TV starring The Problem Child. Although, I mean, yeah. So this one came out in 1995. Mm-hmm. Made for TV film. Pretty much, spoiler alert, none of the original people involved as far as, like, you know, people creating the film. I think, actually, maybe there's...
Or main characters.
Yes. No, well, okay.
There's side characters.
There's side characters that come back, but no main characters. Sure. And I think that's the first... No, that's not true. I guess the last film we did was, like... series we did was all animated, so them replacing people was
they
not
were replacing people like they were.
I mean, I think we
Legos.
still brought it up when they replaced like the main characters.
It wasn't quite as jarring though, because you're
Sure.
like only hearing their voice.
For sure. So Junior is now played by
some kid who's worse than the other kid.
Oh, what was his name?
Justin Chapman.
And he is now a successful journalist, so good on him.
Oh.
Not Junior in this movie. Justin Chapman.
Junior has grown up to be a successful journalist.
He's actually what's Superman's friend? Jimmy guy.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen. Is
that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we get no more John Ritter, sadly.
Yep.
So sad.
The great American hero, though. That's who we get.
William Catt. Doing his best to pretend he's in a film.
He sometimes... there are a couple times where he does, like, a John Ritter impression, almost, and I was like, oh.
When he's, like, wearing a hat at the roller rink?
No, like, just the way that he says things, he, like, says them with, like, the same inflection as John Ritter.
Yeah.
Like, there were a couple times where I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, but is that acting or is that just sad?
It's pretty sad, and I tried to look up, like, what other...
Do it like Ritter would do it. Do it like Ritter do it.
Do it like Ritter.
No. Fall down like Ritter, fall down. Do it. No, again.
Don't hit the table.
I did it on purpose.
Do it like Ritter. Okay.
Okay, so then, how about...
That's how all sequels need to be made.
No. Do it like Ritter.
Do it like Fievel.
We wanted Ritter, but he wanted like $5 million. Do it like Ritter. You $1,000 asshole.
Who was this director that was saying these things?
Greg Beeman.
Putting words in Greg
That's
Beeman's
a
mouth.
great Greg Beeman impersonation.
I think Greg Beeman might direct all sequels, although he actually has a pretty successful TV career.
he did direct the film Bushwhacked.
Oh, I watched that movie. Was it Daniel Stern?
Yeah, Daniel Stern, yeah.
The guy from Home Alone?
Yeah. Yikes.
Okay.
That was also in 95.
Oh, interesting.
Big year for him.
Big year.
I saw that. I saw Bushwhacked in theaters.
But yeah, Greg Beeman is mostly a TV director, but he's directed stuff like Minority Report, Heroes Reborn, an episode of Lucifer, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, Minority Report, the TV show.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. I said he knows lots of
Steven Spielberg directed Minority.
Whoa. Greg Beeman directed Minority Report? Rumor has
Got
it.
it.
Actually directed by Greg Beeman.
He was Ghost Rider.
So, we open with a storybook, like old Disney animated movies.
Well, it's basically just like a catch-up of, like... It's a weird thing in this movie where the things that they kept and the things they threw out, basically Problem Child 2 didn't happen.
Yes.
But they did move to Mortonville.
But they did move to Mortonville.
Certain things they kept. There's still
Certain things they kept. But, like, the weird... Like, I mean, I'm kind of going to go out of order a little bit on this.
That's fine.
But it's like... where, like, he's... Apparently his wife has dumped him.
Yeah.
And...
There's no reference to Annie or Trixie.
But...
R.I.P.
But Big Ben does say something about his wife.
Well,
this is why your wife dumped you.
This is why your
I
wife
think they're
dumped you.
talking about Flo, then, right?
But
also that didn't happen.
No, not really.
And then Mortonville being the weird town of single women out the window as well.
Yeah.
Now it's just
But it's also the town where the sporting goods store still is.
Yeah, I guess he's bounced back somehow. Big Ben has somehow bounced back.
You would assume that he is maybe still married to Lawanda because she was super rich.
Yeah.
And maybe that scheme worked, but there's no mention of Lawanda.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's a thing that they threw out the second movie, but they forgot that they had changed the town name. They just look like, yeah, they live in Mortville.
That's right.
Like, it's like, it almost feels like
and he's in school.
I will say one thing.
Oh yeah, and Murphy's there.
Yeah, so the opening scene, it'll be like, who is the most important character other than Junior and Ben we need to keep, and somehow they decided Murph.
Yeah.
No, they said,
actor.
who can we get?
Yeah. So Murph is back. He's
Murph
the
answered the call.
old, like 30-year-old guy that's in 6th grade with Junior. Apparently, Junior has also been held back a couple times because if you remember, he was advanced into the 6th grade immediately.
Yeah, and in the beginning he says like, "I'm here serving a 5-year sentence."
Yeah.
So that
Also weird throwback. He's talking about how shitty his teacher is, and there is a drawing of her, and she has the same mole as the nun in the first movie.
Yeah.
I did think that was weird.
Yeah.
Do you think that was actually like a reference to their first movie, or was it just straight up? They're like, it would be funny, an ugly mole on a
With
fat
this
broad.
movie, I do not know. I don't know it was intentional, and it seems like that but it's kind of interesting in terms of what they thought were things that made Problem Child work, and things that they thought they needed to keep, and things that they thought they needed to throw away. Which ones of those were actually choices, and which one of those were forced by the budget? I would argue the thing that makes Problem Child is that annoying-ass kid and John Ritter.
Yeah.
If you don't have them, maybe don't make it, but you have Murph, and that's where we're at.
You know what they wanted to keep, but couldn't quite make it happen?
I know what you're gonna say.
Probably due to budget reasons.
Yeah.
Please sing the name.
Bad to the bone. So you heard it. I put it in the little trailer part because it opens up the main titles. But throughout this film, there's still every moment that they want to bring in Bad to the Bone, but they couldn't they probably couldn't license it because it was expensive for TV and they probably had $5 budget. So every time the Bad to the Bone thing comes in, it's like. And you're like, I think that was it?
It's like bad to the skin.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah,
I
not
typed
all the way to the bone.
In my notes, I was like, sad to the bone.
Yes, there you go. That's much better.
It's like,
and also, I have to eat my words here too because narration makes it through all 3 movies.
Yes.
Turns out narration is a really easy storytelling device that you should never use.
Yeah, it's bad. So what do we got? We got narration.
Yep.
We got Murph. We got Jack Warden.
Yep.
And
Gilbert Gottfried. Who is somehow a dentist now.
Yep.
Which was pretty crazy.
He has the most careers of maybe any character in film.
The thing that was weird with this one, obviously his character likes to be in places where he can torture kids or something.
Yeah.
Or at least that was more established in the second film.
Yep.
But with this one, I thought it was weird because at first I was like, is this the same guy? Because at least in Problem Child 2, he seemed to recognize Junior.
He definitely knew him.
In the third one,
it's not clear.
No, he did. In the second one, he was like, "What the?"
No, in the second one for sure. In the third one, it is
the
unclear.
third one, he doesn't know.
That's what I was saying. Like the second one, he clearly recognized him and was like, "Fuck, get this kid out of here." In the third one, he's like, "Oh, it's just another kid." Ah!
And he even says to like the dad, like, "Oh, Mr. Healy, can I call you Ben?" Like, it's like you've known him already for like 5 years.
And you can tell they were like really leaning on Gilbert Gottfried in this one because there's like 4 scenes with him.
Do you think Gilbert Gottfried has a stipulation in his contract where he's like, I will totally do these movies if I could do all my scenes with this attractive woman? Because he has this nurse Kiki in the food fight scene. He had, as I believe you described, a bimbo.
Yeah.
I thought it was
the last episode. Yeah, it did seem that way. He has a buxom nurse that's dressed up like either Animaniacs nurse or the girl on the cover of the Blink-182 album.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it was the same girl.
Yeah, nurse Kiki. Yeah, so, as far as contract writers go,
Yeah, so those are the only things really that carry over.
I want to, while we're on the subject of Gilbert Gottfried, his dental office is like the most frightening thing I've ever seen. The chairs are all like lips with giant teeth protruding out of them.
It kind of carries over the heightened Tim Burtoniness that we were talking about in Problem Child 2.
But only there.
But also, well, their house is pretty nuts, too.
It's the kind of,
like... Same,
I was like, it's the kind of thing where, like, you're setting up a dentist's office, and this could happen in real life where somebody is like, oh, the kids will probably think it's fun to sit in the mouth.
Yeah.
But then, in actual practice, it's terrifying
and
horrible.
Well, it's awful. Like, it's completely horrifying. It's bad art direction. It's not lit well. And it looks terrible, and it kind of... That's a gateway into talking about how uneven the tone of this movie is, and how... I gave Justin a hard time last episode about how well, you like the cartoonish violence in the first one, like the second one it's just more of that. I'm now on board with you. This third one takes it to a point where it's just nothing fits together. Nothing hangs well together. It's
there are some legitimate exactly cartoon shots in this film.
Yes.
So plot, I guess, really quick. He doesn't get along with his teacher. He got her fired. They take him to a therapist who suggests that he does sports, scouts, and cotillion.
She wants him to do activities. She thinks that, hey, there's nothing wrong with him. He just has a lot of energy. Just put him out there and have him do stuff, which basically sets up what Junior's gonna do. And also basically it's actually, weirdly, a Scott Pilgrim type story where he has to fight
3 boyfriends.
3 boyfriends.
Yeah, he has to fight them.
Yeah. It really is.
That's really funny.
Mr. Ben Healy, she specifically says sports, scouts, or something like cotillion. Junior breaks down the door and says, I will not go to this dumb dancing thing. And that's the thing that his dad then forces him to go to.
Oh, yeah.
Of those
There's a weird sequence with them showering fully clothed.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
This film, I was actually felt a little bit scared of Junior in this film because he seemed to have super strength and crazy powers. Mentioned, he kicked down the door
and wanted to murder people.
Yeah, yes, he kicked down the door with little to no effort. Mm-hmm. He also, launches people across fields or through walls.
Well, so we get to the dance thing, right?
Yeah.
And so he has super strength.
I'm just saying.
And
I was like, someone needs to stop this guy.
And so he has all of that strength, and then we meet Tiffany, who is the junior that is his love, the titular love of the film.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds kind of dirty.
Can we just? I don't know if we need to run down the entire plot for this one. Can we just give the basic premise of what happens?
Sure. Yeah. So what happens is that Junior sees this girl. He's like, oh my god, like, it starts fantasizing about their future together, and then meets basically her three, or is it four?
It's three boyfriends.
Three dudes who are courting her.
Yep.
And they are
an actor.
Quirky?
Whatever.
Yeah, Corky.
Something
like that.
Quirky. A scout.
Whose
military
name is
Duke. And a Mighty Ducks ripoff kid called Blade.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's the captain of the hockey team, and his name's Blade.
Yep.
And I was like, really?
But I think it's kind of...
Really?
I think Corky, the actor kid, is somebody from the Little Rascals.
Oh.
And then it was kind of, like, I guess ironic, but the scout kid is actually the kid that plays, like, the young version of Emilio Estevez in all of the Mighty Ducks movies.
Oh, weird.
So,
That's
hockey.
fun for that casting director.
Yeah.
So basically, Junior's like, this girl must be mine. I have to defeat these kids.
Yeah, that's the whole
Yep.
film is like a series of him taking on these kids.
But he's like, so he gets picked up, and he's like, oh, like he has his revenge because his dance class goes horribly, and he like looks at, I forget which one. First kid, he's like, this kid's like thinks he's so hot. He thinks he's so cool. I know how to heat him up, and it cuts to him with this kid in an electric chair.
Yeah, and he's like,
which, hey, electric chair in all three movies.
Yeah,
that's
Right,
true.
So consistent. We got that.
Motif.
And then I forget. The next one, kid in front of a firing squad.
Yeah, yes.
And then the third one, kid
Getting beheaded.
beheaded by an executioner. So to your point, he must be stopped.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? He's daydreaming about like literally murdering these people? This is what I was saying in the last film. He's like trying to kill everyone.
I'm coming around.
He's evil, you know? Okay.
So I guess it doesn't quite get there, but I was gonna say one of the legitimately funny things about this movie. Like, this movie does have certain lines that I did think were funny.
Yeah, there were like 2 times that I laughed, I think,
Yeah.
if I can find where they were in my notes.
I have at least one written down.
I just want to say, like, okay, first of all, I don't know if you guys can tell from our conversation so far, but this movie sucks, okay? It's barely a movie.
Yep.
It's longer than the first film, but not as long as the second one by, like,
But
a
it
couple minutes.
feels like the longest one in the series.
But it's
by
so
far.
lifeless and boring, and, like, it's just bad. Like, I don't understand why, like whose idea was it this to be the premise of the film? Like, I don't understand why, after you have a sequel that sets up, like, 2 problem kids, and they don't even get to really do anything together, because it ends right after they're like, happy ending, boom. Like, why wouldn't you have a film where it's now those 2 kids together, like, causing shit, ruckus all over
I feel
the
like
place?
it has the exact...
Like, whose idea was it?
It has,
to be like,
has the exact model of, like, I know, Prom Child, that's the vehicle where we make a made-for-TV movie where we can just get different sections of all these other popular kids movies at the time. Like, we have the hockey movie, we have the camp movie. It's just like, this is our vehicle to get through this, and it brings us to a thing that has been consistent in these first 2 series of bad sequels, the fade out. I mean, for this one,
right.
it is a. I mean,
Commercial break.
both of them have been made for TV movies, but it makes for awful storytelling when it comes to these films because it's basically like, here's the sequence, fade out. Here's a new sequence that has nothing to do with the thing you just saw.
Yeah, it's really bad, really bad.
But it did really feel like that sequel sin of, hey, here's a popular character, let's shoehorn this into things that we think are popular and have him do these things.
Yeah.
So a bunch of stuff happens where he basically infiltrates the activities of the 3 boyfriends and then ruins them.
Did you like any of the okay, there was let's talk about why don't we talk about some of the things we liked, like, if you guys can remember. I was thinking, like, I'm glad I took notes of this movie because I watched it like 2 days ago and it's already fading from my mind.
I literally watched it before walking in the door.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't remember what happened.
I think that a thing that I like about it, and a thing that's interesting about it, is that when you boil the Problem Child down to the bone, is that it really is this outcast versus, you know, popular kids type thing, where he's like, he feels excluded, and it is a nerds versus jock thing. Like that is what they thought was the essence of this movie. Mm-hmm. It kind of continues. The relationship between Junior and his dad kind of continues. So the things that did make it through are interesting in spite of the hilarious amount of things that didn't, and things that they shoehorned in with the pieces that were obviously missing.
This one has like almost no, like character progression at all. Like I swear, William Catt has like, there's about like 3 heart-to-hearts per film, and in this one he has 3 more heart-to-hearts with Junior. Where I swear to God, he says some of the same exact, like they might have been word for word from the first film.
He absolutely does, yeah.
And it's just like this exact scene again. Like what?
I feel like there's at one point where it was in the therapist's office, which this movie doesn't like therapists, by the way.
Oh my God!
But
that was another holdover. Like we got. Oh no, that was a cutscene of Michael Richards looking at the ink blots. That was a deleted scene. But this time they have Junior looking at ink blots, and he's like, "It's an ink blot! It's an ink blot!" for like every single picture, and
At least he wasn't like. Oh wait, no, that was. Sorry, was that this movie where he was like calling everybody dames?
No, this movie
does.
James.
Yeah. But I don't think he did that in the other films. I was like, is he like a 1930s?
He called the Wanda a bitch, but
but he was never like, what's the deal with dames? And he said, this broad isn't. I don't remember what he said, but he was using lots of weird terms.
None of the films have been too kind to women, but this one really like took the misogyny cake and ate it.
I think they were like, I think in this film too, they were like, they gave Junior.
Yeah, that's what you like.
Oh God! I was saying, I think in this film too, they gave Junior like 50% more lines, and so I was like, God, he's even more annoying now.
He's even more annoying.
He talks way more.
The whole movie is very anti-female. Like
it really is.
The teacher, the whole thing about like. He never even spoke to this girl directly before going after her 3 boyfriends. Like, no clue whether or not... I mean, the old lady, like, teacher, he's really bad too. Murph cross-dresses as his sister, like, Bertha at some point.
Who is madly in love with Junior, apparently. Or she's got the hots for him.
The therapist ends up becoming a love interest for Ben Healy, and she's being stalked by her crazy ex-boyfriend, who's the scout leader, and she's just kind of like, oh, well, they have to battle also. I think at one point she says, I'm not a prize to be won, but then she's like, okay, but go ahead and fight.
And she's cheering on the entire time. Yeah.
And she's it's a weird thing where she should be like, oh, like I'm a doctor, I do these things. There's this really awful joke of, so basically she's a love interest for Ben Healy. Then the Scoutmaster is trying to beat the shit out of Ben Healy because he's like, that's my ex-wife. Like, we're meant to be together.
Mine.
And then not even ex-wife, just ex-girlfriend.
When she was talking, when she describing their relationship, she was like, it was complicated and whatever. But then I had to end it because his insurance ran out. Yeah, which is. Because she was counseling him because she said that he felt
it's pretty messed up.
Yeah, it's
the whole thing. All the women are awful. That was one thing that was good about the second movie is that Annie and Trixie were actually legit
but there were awful women in that movie.
There were, yeah.
All the movies are mean spirited.
Yeah,
every single one of them,
particularly towards women.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
One of the legitimately funny things throughout the entire series to me, and maybe you guys disagree, is Jack Warden.
Yes.
I think Jack Warden is fucking hilarious.
He doesn't give a crap about the continuity. He's just like, I'm here to be a creepy old man and make jokes. Like, the first one, he wasn't particularly creepy, but the second one, he got, like, slightly creepier with, like, the girls in the hot tub and him hitting on LaWanda. And this one, he just fully leans into the creepy. Yeah. He has made himself the mascot for his own brand of, like, muscle milk.
Yeah, they're like workout videos. Yeah. But we first see him, and he's in his mansion. So he didn't lose his money at this point. So, like, Prom Child 2 again, out the window.
Well... Maybe.
He's back to being all Americana themed. No more green money themed. It's all American again.
Which is something that LaWanda had, kind of. So.
True.
She might still be around, but they don't mention her.
Okay.
I'm just saying. They couldn't get Lorraine.
I'm just saying.
And so what he's doing is he's having a boxing, which he also boxes in Dirty Work, which is a great movie. And he's boxing his
Latina maid.
His quote Latina maid,
who is wearing like a costume
like a sexy maid outfit.
Yeah,
and Greatest American Hero comes in, little Ben Healy. And he's like, "What are you doing, Dad? You're gonna hurt your boxing." And he's like, "I always like to fight a Latina. Like they have fire." And he's just boxing this maid,
so messed up,
and it's insane, and it's genuinely hilarious.
And then later, when he's for some reason babysitting Junior, he is going through the mail order brides catalog.
He's getting drunk and he starts calling the Philippines.
Yeah.
And then it cuts away to Little Ben's date, and then it cuts back and he's on the phone with a German girl.
Yeah, he's calling mail order brides. So maybe
he's like,
Luanda,
I like your voice there.
Yeah, maybe Luanda is out of the picture, but he's calling mail order bride sex hotlines, basically.
Yeah. That character would not care if LaWanda was in or out of the picture.
That's
especially
true.
in the Problem Child universe.
Yeah. And then he gets trapped in a closet and dies.
Yep.
Junior locks him in the closet, Harry Potter type closet, and covers up the closet with Beeman's quick drying cement. So the director named a fake brand of cement after himself. Easter egg!
I didn't even notice that.
I think it's named.
Whoa, you actually watched this movie?
Yeah.
I didn't think we were supposed to watch. I didn't think we were supposed to watch it.
I thought we were just supposed to read a Wikipedia summary.
I just thought it was kind of like audacious of the director to give himself an Easter egg. Like, he's like, I'm like John Lasseter, or, I guess John Lasseter didn't exist back then, but, he's like, I'm such an auteur.
You're surprised that a director has an ego?
Yeah. True. I'm surprised that Greg Beeman has that much ego.
Well, stop taking Beeman down a peg.
Typical Beeman. No. Show the can of cement. Show it. Or a bag of cement. Do they come in cans? I don't know. Beeman's comes in cans.
So
you heard it here, folks.
Apologies to Greg Beeman.
Yeah. At some point, Junior's carrying out these three various plans. And at some point, he has to get braces because Gilbert Gottfried is trying to get money. So he showed.
I thought you were going to say because he's in this movie, so he has to go there.
Yes, he showed Mr. Healy a horse teeth X-ray instead of a human X-ray, just to force him to get braces.
He's like, he's got Appaloosa something or other.
Yeah, Nervosa. It ended in Nervosa. I remember that. Yeah. I think it was Appaloosa gingivitis nervosa, and I was like, ugh. So Junior gets braces, which only causes him to be more mocked by the various
Which makes sense because they're the most horrifying braces I've ever seen.
They're horrifying braces, and which does kind of play into, where the first film did use, themes of adoption and kids feeling left out, and kind of, it was heightened of kids being mean, but kids are mean. Mm-hmm. And so it was this heightened version of, everyone who had braces could be embarrassed within that time, and you could have done something that was like the first movie, or even the second movie to a lesser degree, of, hey, we're really playing on kids feeling like outsiders, and there's a universal thing of getting back at people who exclude you. Not this movie, but that's the idea.
Yeah, the first one was like, oh, he's adopted. The second one was like, oh, he's new in town. And the third one is like,
oh, he's in love.
Got braces. Yeah.
The braces wasn't even that big of a deal.
The bow tie is back all the time, even though
even when he's wearing a hockey jersey.
Yeah, he discarded his bow tie after his run-in with Michael Richards, but now he's
because when you're at this point, you have to boil it down to what do people think of when they think of Problem Child? And they're like, they think of the bow tie, and they think of the devil, and they think
they think of John Ritter. Wait, fuck. And they think of Bad to the Bone. God damn it.
No, they think of Greg Beeman. Yeah. That's who they think.
We recast the kid. People won't know who he is unless we put this bow tie on him.
Exactly. If he was just a looking normalized kid, people would be like, I thought he wore a bow tie.
Someone in a boardroom somewhere at NBC said, come on, all gingers look the same.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's true. No, I'm kidding. Okay, can I say, there was one part that I actually laughed at.
Okay.
And had to pause the film because I was laughing.
Is it Peter Pan?
No.
Okay.
Some of that was funny, though, but I actually laughed really hard. So, like we were saying, he goes around and like gets back at all these kids, right? And so, one of the kids he has to get back at is the hockey guy.
Yep.
And the first time he goes to play hockey with them, and it's like roller hockey or whatever. It's like, he goes and plays with them, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll let you play." As they like pound their fists, like, "Yeah."
A strobe light flashes every time that he gets hit
exactly.
by something.
They attack him with lightning sticks. I don't know how it happens, but they're like, "All right, let's go." And as soon as they start going, instead of like playing hockey, they just smack him over the head.
They just beat the shit out of him. Yeah.
Yeah, and every time he gets hit, it flashes lightning. And so he comes back later and is like, "I'm gonna fuck them up." Well, actually, sorry. There's a whole scene where he's like practicing.
Unlike any other prank, it's like, I know what I'll do. Like, it should, like, none of the movie shows him have any discipline, do anything.
Yeah.
And then this prank where he's gonna beat the hockey kid Blades, who is literally wearing, like, Mighty Ducks colors.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna practice and get real buff and work really hard.
Yeah.
Which is, like, not a thing that Junior
But
does.
also, like, there's not really a prank involved. He's just kind of like, "Oh, they beat me up, so I'm gonna beat them up." But
he does put glue.
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked during the practice scene. He's like practicing, aiming his puck shots at his head.
Yeah.
And then in the final one, he hits it and it explodes. And I was like, "Holy shit! He's gonna be using like explosive pucks to like kill these dudes." I mean, that didn't end up being the case. But...
I did like when they go to the hockey game and Little Ben and Big Ben are in the stands and Junior's on, I think, the blue team or something, and Ben's like, "Let's go red team," and Little Ben's like, "No, Daddy's on the blue team." And he's like, "I know." Like cheering for the other team.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna get to the part that I thought was really hilarious. His plan is in action. He's put the glue on the dude's face or whatever.
Or on the hockey mask, so
Yeah.
it sticks to the dude's face.
His plan is in action. Like, as soon as they're like, "All right, let's start," he just starts beating the shit out of everyone. They're like, "Oh, what the fuck, guy?" And the ref comes over and he's like, "Hey, you can't do that." And he goes, "Fuck you," and hits him with his hockey stick. And the ref goes flying. And then he finally sets his eyes on Blade. And he hits the puck so hard that Blade...
Oh, yeah.
Blade, like, gets launched back through the net of the goal, through the edge of the rink, out the building, and flies through the air straight into an ambulance. The doors open, straight into an ambulance. He lands in the ambulance, doors close, and the ambulance drives off like nothing happened. And I thought that was like, I mean, it was a cartoon, but I thought it was kind of funny. It was just like...
I have two things with this, right? Okay, so in Problem Child 2, we did make the joke about how he was ruining the party, how he would just throw things.
Yeah.
And they made a giant bit about, like, sight gags of where things are flying.
Yeah.
And that persists in this movie. That's a visual language that they kept true with that. And that was actually really, really funny, and I agree. But secondly... in the first movie, in the Little League game, he just beats the shit out of everybody as well, and he didn't have to do any training.
Yeah,
that's true.
He didn't have to train at all.
Well, he didn't have to. He just had to run with the bat, with the hockey thing. You have to be on skates. Maybe
he wasn't on skates in the training.
Yeah, no. They do the same kind of thing where like they show them swinging at the dude, and then like when you hear him go, "Ugh!" and then all of his hockey equipment goes flying in the air, which is the same thing that happened in the first film.
Yep.
I think it was the first film.
Yep.
Where, he beats the guys and all the gloves go flying in there.
Yep.
the other thing about the hockey
Callback
game,
shot.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about the hockey game
Weird,
is that
right?
Junior,
Like, it actually does that.
Super weird.
Junior broke the fourth wall, like when he was putting glue in the hockey mask. He like looked up at the camera and raised his eyebrows. And what's that sound effect called? The, like,
I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
I didn't like that either.
That was the only time he said that, really?
No.
Okay.
He does it later at Corky's house.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, that was the only time he did it in the films. He didn't do it in the films prior, right?
No, not the films prior.
Yeah.
He never went like, "I'm a problem child."
But at the same time, narration does that.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
I didn't like it though.
No.
The movie in general.
Yeah, no, I didn't like it.
So I do want to talk about this Peter Pan sequence.
Okay.
So the child actor kid, they decide to put on a production of Peter Pan, which is completely ludicrous. So Tiffany is going to be Wendy, Corky is going to be Peter Pan, and Junior, because the teachers don't like him, he has to be a weed. So he's like a tumbleweed, and all the kids are like woodland creatures. And the show starts, and this was like one of the few times I laughed out loud in this movie. Ben Healy is sitting in the audience with the therapist lady or whatever as their date. And he gets out a camera and he goes, do you think they would mind if I took a snapshot? And then every single parent in the crowd lifts up like a giant 80s camcorder or like a huge camera. And he's like, oh. Like that was one of the few times that I was like, that's a joke that's like funny on its own without being about Junior really at all. So I don't know, I just like that. And then they start Peter Pan and it has nothing to do with Peter Pan. It's just like
there's a kid in a panda costume.
Yeah.
There's like a rainbow in the background. Like
it's just like windy, supposedly windy in the forest, and then Peter Pan just like appears and is like, I'm Peter Pan, and he sings a song which, like, I guess because they couldn't afford Bad to the Bone, they really just used as many public domain songs as possible. I didn't write them all down because I didn't figure it out till like halfway through the movie, but like at some point they use Carmen and like they use other public domain songs, but Peter Pan is like in the mood. They're like, Peter Pan, Peter Pan.
He's like, I wrote down, there's lyrics where he's like, first name's Peter, last name's Pan. And then everyone in the background's like, Peter Pan.
Yeah, the chorus,
I was like, what
the chorus is like in the mood, which is just a public domain jazz standard, and it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, it had nothing to do with Peter Pan. It's like, it's not that. I guess because then maybe they would have had to pay rights to the J.M. Barrie estate or something, but it was ridiculous. But that's where we get Junior's supposed tagline for this movie, because he ruins the Peter Pan show and has Corky flying everywhere. He ruins the ropes, and then he gets up and goes, now that's entertainment.
Oh, right.
Which is apparently the tagline on the box cover, right?
Yeah, on the DVD, yeah. I didn't even think about that. I don't remember him saying that, but I just thought, like, when I looked at the cover art, I was like, it says in parentheses, or in quotes, now that's entertainment. No exclamation point or anything, just like...
I need a minute, I'm sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess because this was a TV movie, they definitely included a lot more, like, pop culture jokes. Like, Junior made a lot of, like, wordplay things. Like, he talked about Jurassic Park, and, which was, like, 2 years before this, I think, and... I don't know. He made a lot more.
The Jurassic
Park
joke was really funny to me because he was like, "You making fun of my sister?" He was like, "No, I insulted a T-Rex."
Yeah.
Which is, if you didn't know what that scene was, that made no sense to you.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid. I don't know.
So
I was actually thinking earlier today that I was surprised. What?
You better tell the people now.
Justin has a note on the Peter Pan performance that is an Arrested Development reference.
Yeah, I was like, you were saying the play was weird. I typed like, this version of Peter Pan is messed up. I'm like, it's like, you're a crook, Captain Hook.
Captain Hook, yeah.
it was totally like
very much is.
Yeah. That had more merit than this, because that was at least like a maritime reference.
Yeah. But I was thinking, like, this movie, so it was a made-for-TV film, and as far as I know, like, I don't know. I couldn't find, like, ratings for it or anything, but I doubt it was very popular. They haven't made anything more, as far as the Problem Child franchise goes. There was a pilot, but it didn't go. And I was actually kind of surprised that this film was streaming on HBO Go. I was like, well, how is this even here? Like, because you can't just go and like rent it on Amazon, Vudu. You can't buy a DVD. I went on Amazon looking for reviews of the film from like random people, and the only available copies are like these Region 2 DVDs, and a bunch of dumbass people tried to buy them. And there's all these reviews like, dang it, I waited for 3 weeks for this to get here, and it doesn't play in my Sony BD-5536 Blu-ray player. And I really wanted to know how this series ended.
I guess it's just like the studio packaged them as one package and sold the streaming to
I've
HBO.
never heard people complain more about dodging a bullet.
Right. Well, I guess it's probably all owned by the same like production company or something. So that's how they can do it. But it's just like
it's the same.
It's just like, who's watching this movie?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we are, and our loyal, fabulous listeners.
Yes.
As the music supervisor extraordinaire that you are, is there a possibility like that the TV movie when it aired had the real music or had better music, and then for but when they wanted to sell it for streaming, they put in...
It's possible, but I doubt it for this. Like,
is it cheaper to... It is, right? It's cheaper to license, if they were to license Bad to the Bone for the TV movie, than it would be for a theatrical release?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But it doesn't seem like because there's no point in the film where there's like other songs like playing on the radio. Or
They
whatever.
wouldn't have had more money to recut the movie with a different soundtrack.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, like, just to throw in public domain songs. Like,
Yeah, my guess is it was like that to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I didn't look up who did the... Actually, I did look up who did the music, but it was nobody I could have heard of.
Yeah.
But the score is so terrible. The whole
Yeah.
film, it's like...
It's awful.
It's like... Just like that, pretty much.
Oh shit, you did it.
Yeah, it was me, you guys.
You were 9.
Junior's like, I'm gonna get this guy back. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Pretty much.
I guess-
And then every once in a while it's like... It goes... The whole end credits is that terrible song.
It was pretty...
I should just put that at the end of the episode.
You really should.
I might do it.
It was pretty close,
sorry
though.
that you
Like,
have to do that.
it did evoke the same mood. Like, if you weren't listening for the difference, you may not have noticed.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, like if you-
as if a layman's, point of
Like,
view.
If you hadn't just watched Problem Child 1,
Yes, exactly.
You put this film on while you're doing something else, like...
No,
if
back to the
you're
Literally
a
anything
functioning
else.
member of society, then you might not know the difference, but then you would not be watching this movie.
Yeah.
You know what, honey? Let's finally finish that Problem Child series tonight. It's on HBO.
You've been saying we should finish something.
I hear he falls in love.
Somehow, the climax of the film is a big confrontation between the scout leader, ex of the therapist, and his son versus Ben and Junior.
It's a manhood battle, or whatever
It's
it
a
says.
Tough Mudder.
Tough Mudder.
Type. Like, they had some of the same obstacles as Tough Mudder. I was like, maybe
It's
Tough
just
Mudder
a
was
basic.
inspired by this.
It's just a freaking basic corporate boot camp obstacle course.
It's kind of like an episode of Wet Hot American Summer. Like,
Yeah,
a little bit is.
Totally.
Except Junior did rig the monkey bars to be electrocuting, so I was like, oh, it's like a Tough Mudder.
Yeah, I suppose.
Junior straight up murdered all these kids.
Yeah.
Before we get to this point. And then it's like, hey dad, like we're gonna do something.
I did like when Ben was trying to get in the zone for the relay race or whatever. There's a montage of people yelling at him saying,
Oh,
"You got
yeah, that's
no
right.
guts."
It's super fucked
So
up.
it was
I forgot about
his
this.
dad, you see his dad yelling at him like, "You've got no guts," and then you see
The Scoutmaster.
the Scoutmaster saying, "You've got no guts," and then all of a sudden it cuts to a
hooker.
hotel room hooker with a whip saying, "You've got no guts," and you're like, "What?"
Okay, that was I was like, what the fuck is going on?
It
What the
came out
fuck
of
is
nowhere. It came out of nowhere.
It said it was TV PG at the beginning, you guys. I'm upset.
Yeah. Well, it would be if you watch this as a kid with your family, you have a fear of the dentist. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We didn't mention.
You have a thing about whips?
Yeah, you have a thing about whips, and you hate women. So, Congratulations on voting for Trump.
Those people
Oh my God.
are now our age.
Yep.
Yikes,
Oh,
yikes.
I know.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that was weird. But anyways, they somehow win because Junior basically booby trapped every single obstacle in the course.
The final thing he does is because, the Scoutmaster and his son, Duke, whose name is Duke!
Duke.
Because I like that scene too. Duke walks up to Junior and he's like, "Hey, dork." And Duke's like, "It's Duke. And not dork, it's Duke!" And he screams really loud, and I was like, holy shit, man.
Also, brief aside, the scouts in this are called prairie dogs, and they wear, desert camo, whatever. But, they have, a prairie dog, chant, and they bark like dogs. And it's
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Okay, that was also kind of
someone
stupid.
never read a zoo book.
But the final thing he does is the end of the thing is a canoe race, and they're going, and all of a sudden, the Scoutmaster and Duke start slowing down, and it turns out that they were attached to, a bungee cord or something.
That was attached to a truck.
Yeah, it's attached to a bungee cord that's attached to a truck.
And then another fun sight gag thing flying through the air.
Yeah.
And then cut to Jack Warden yelling at his maid, "I'm hungry."
Yeah.
And then the dad and Duke end up in
the
a canoe on Jack Warden's American
Because apparently
flag.
his house is just right over there. I don't know.
Exactly. On his dinner table, and then he has a fork and a knife, and he's like, "I'll try anything once." I know. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Jack Warden had all the best moments in this movie.
He's gonna eat this person.
So, due to his successful murdering and maiming of the three boys, Junior now gets to dance with Tiffany at the costume ball, which he has pulled out and dusted off his little Satan costume again.
He's wearing the same costume from the first film.
Yep.
So they're dancing, and it turns out that Tiffany, now that we finally get to talk to her and see what she's about, is a huge jerk. Mm-hmm. Like all the women in this movie, she's
super vapid.
Yeah,
and all
and
about herself.
she is all about her hair, and she only wants Junior to give her dumb compliments, and so he gets tired of her and hooks her dress up to a statue, and she walks away, and it gets ripped off her. She's wearing shockingly comprehensive underwear underneath the dress, so that we don't have to see a little girl naked.
I know, I was like, oh god, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, she may be Mormon, because she's wearing like a tank top and shorts underneath her.
It might be network TV.
Yeah.
Let's not knock the Mormons.
Well, I mean...
We've done it before.
Must-see TV.
She's wearing like a full bodysuit of underwear. And then...
Let's obsess about
That's
this.
a weird thing to be talking about.
If you were a girl, you would realize that no one would wear that much underwear under a full dress.
Unless it was made for TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but...
No. She wouldn't be wearing that.
Neither would a tree fall on someone and have it hammer them into the ground like a man.
Yeah. So, I guess the happy ending...
That was so dumb.
is that Junior meets a little girl who has red hair and braces and is dressed up as a witch. The end.
Sad to the Bone plays over the
Sad to the
bone. Yeah.
It would have been better if it was like in a minor key and like scary.
Pretty much like that.
So, other violent things that happened in this movie, but I think that there are...
We almost covered everything.
We did. I think that it's interesting the things that carry through every single movie. Oh, one thing that was our favorite part of the other movies that barely gets to happen in this movie is fake animals being real animals.
Oh, okay. Yes. I did forget to mention during Peter Pan, the only thing I found was close to that was when he was throwing around Peter Pan on the rope. It very clearly would change from like the child to a full adult stuntman, from like a large stuntman, and then another shot would be the kid, and then it would be like a large stuntman, and then the kid.
Same thing would happen when Corky was riding his horse, but we did get one fake animal when Corky's sitting on the horse. It's obviously a... Like there's a close-up of him where he's sitting on, like, a prop horse.
I also did notice that the first scene with Jack Warden, you can see Nippy on the piano in the background.
Yeah, Nippy's, Nippy's stuffed on the piano in the
Nippy's taxidermy version of himself is behind him.
So again...
Nippy didn't even die in the second movie.
No,
but I guess, I don't know.
So again, that's the thing that carried over from the second movie.
Do you think it was the same prop?
It looked like the same prop.
It was the same prop, yeah.
My guess it would be the same prop.
Yeah.
Another thing I read that was really interesting is apparently Greg Beeman did all the stunts in the film.
What?
Oh, interesting.
I'm just making this up. Beeman's doing the stunts.
No, you were thinking about Zack Snyder.
Oh, speaking of Zack Snyder, did anybody notice that Gilbert Gottfried was wearing the Watchmen button on his dental
I did not notice
jacket?
That.
Yeah.
Well, did it actually have the blood drip on it?
Yes. Why would I say it was the Watchmen button if it was just a happy face?
I don't know. Because you didn't know?
Yeah.
Because you're not a nerd?
You guys now hate women as much as this movie.
Yeah.
But yes, Dr. Peabody was wearing a Watchmen button.
Did we talk about, I don't think we mentioned actually yet, but the guy who wrote this movie, Michael Hitchcock, is actually not only a writer, but he's also an actor.
And really fucking funny.
Yeah, and he is currently, executive producing and writing on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he's in all of the Christopher Guest movies. He's in Waiting for Guffman.
He was in Glee.
Yep.
I mean, he's one of those guys. He's definitely one of those actors that you're like, oh, that guy, but you don't know his name.
Yeah.
Which is what I did when I looked him up. I was like, oh, that guy. But I just thought that was really funny. Like, let me see if I can get you a photo here.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah,
he's the teacher of the deaf Choir and Glee.
Yeah. He's done lots of stuff.
Yeah, lots of everything.
It's just interesting to see, where people have gone from.
Yeah, I mean, and there's
from Problem Child 3.
There are some lines in this movie that are funny, and there are things that are mean-spirited, and that feels like a satire. The movie really does feel like a script that I thought would have been funny if I wrote it when I was 19.
Yeah.
I would have loved were Trixie to be back, and it was Junior and Trixie...
That's what I was saying.
Screwing up people, and then maybe if you still want to keep the Junior and love thing, maybe Junior gets a girlfriend and Trixie then tortures them.
This is the kind of thing
that would have been funny.
I'm sure we'll run into this, with more sequels as we go. Yep. But I don't like when it seems like there's a very clear through line that you could create to the next sequel, and they just are like, no, fuck that. We want to do our own thing. We're gonna have. We're going to have Junior in space for some reason.
Junior in space.
That probably would have been the next film, Junior in space.
But I think
Junior X.
Sorry.
Regardless of what we thought of Problem Child 2, it did carry those characters forward. It did set up an arc, like you said. Yep. And there could have been a third thing there. Easily.
Well, and I think one of the main things that I said I liked about Problem Child 2 was that Junior was no longer worrying about Ben abandoning him, and so it was able to get to the next level, where in this one he's back to being like, you don't love me anymore, you're gonna send me away, and it was just what?
Was he even like that? He was.
No, he did say that once.
He was mostly only about killing these kids.
He wasn't even you don't understand me. It was just I guess he tried to run away twice, but
and then there's no plot line at all for Ben Healy. He's not. He's
back
Really back at the sporting goods store.
He's working at the sporting goods thing, which is sad and
But they still live in a weird, crazy house.
Yeah, where there's cement just sitting around.
Yeah, number 9. Cement. Their address is still 911.
Right.
That was from the second movie.
I mean, that's a pretty funny joke to keep. Hold up, wait. What if they lived at 911 whatever avenue?
Never forget.
And no one ever calls 911 in the movie. That's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. So final verdict on this film, you guys. What do you think, Tyler?
I think that it was a horrible film that gave us some interesting things to talk about in terms of what gets carried over to sequels and what people think that actually makes a franchise in that way. And I think that although it was dog shit, we're in for a whole lot worse. And so I hope you guys keep listening.
Yeah. I do think this is the worst movie that we've watched so far. It's worse than all the Fiebles. And it's definitely the worst of the Problem Child series.
Yeah. I also hated this film. I was just going to say, overall for the Problem Child franchise, if you're going to watch one, watch the first one. If you really love it, watch the second one, but you don't have to.
I like the second one.
I also like the second one, but I have a nostalgic
lean I guess if you had seen it in the past like that.
Just watch the first two. The first two are fine.
Yeah, I guess. But no, just only watch the first one.
So stay tuned. Follow us on Facebook and follow us at Sequel Rights on Twitter. We will be announcing our next franchise very, very soon.
Yeah, we'll be back with a new one next week.
We probably should have announced it now, but we haven't talked about it yet.
It's going to be Species.
No, it's probably going to be Species, all right, guys?
We don't know. This could change. Don't.
But it's looking like it's going to be Species. Yeah. But if you guys have any suggestions, also feel free to shoot us email at sequelrights@gmail.com. Please tell your friends about the podcast and subscribe to us on iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, wherever you get podcasts, and leave us a review and rate us. That would be super great.
We do have a review. We have one review.
Yeah, we got one review from Todd.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Todd241 or whatever.
Yeah, you might be my friend Todd, but I don't know.
I don't know anybody named Todd, so...
Todd, you're my friend.
I'm taking it. Yeah, Todd's my favorite. So thank you guys for listening, and as always, we want to thank my brother Jordan for the music at the top of the show. I am going to leave you all with Sad to the Bone. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Well, I guess that wraps things up. So until next time, this is Junior Healy saying, so long, sucker.